It does. Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody in. All right, so good evening, everyone. My name is Jess Markowitz, your Superstar Director with Sensei, and I am so excited for you to be here. Some of you that are new, welcome. If this is your first call, we're excited to have you. Maybe it's your second call. Good for you for being on. One thing that you'll hear a lot in this business is if you show up, you go up. And today I wanted to, because I couldn't find a guest speaker for this slot this day, I said, you know what, let me just use myself as an example, because you know, you're going to hear a lot of tips and encouraging things on my end, and you want to know that I was where you were at one point, and I was making things happen and doing the actions that are being asked that you should be doing, especially with your first things first checklist. One thing I want to make sure that you know, it's so important that you are looking at your first things first checklist. The Sensei's probably emailing you fairly, I just muted myself, fairly frequently. And so I just talked to a new consultant earlier today, and she said, maybe I should take a look at those emails. And I said, yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. Because one of the things is that these steps that they're having you do are proven strategy that has shown for tons and tons of very successful consultants over the years to, if you implement those actions, even if you feel like you don't know what the heck you're doing and how to do it, you might be scared, do it anyway. One thing that you say is, you know, dive in first, learn to swim later. And over time, you're going to build the skill by doing it over and over and getting that repetition going, okay? One of the reasons why my business grew so fast is because I was taking so many massive actions from the second I joined, and I was doing things over and over and over, so I learned them a lot faster because I had so much practice. Instead of doing one party a month, I was doing 2 parties in a day. So probably about 5 to 6 parties in home a week. That's a lot of experience, and that's a lot of practice, okay? So one thing I want to share with you guys is that if you see people growing faster than you are, it's probably they're taking a lot more actions, and it doesn't mean that's a good thing or a bad thing. Don't compare yourself to the next person, because your lifestyle, your availability is different from somebody else, and even your already when you walk into the gate of your Sensei business, you have different skill levels and experiences that somebody else may not, and then vice versa. So I walked into my business with no direct sales experience at all. I had no idea what it was about, how I was going to build a business, and I had about 6 months of sales experience in my entire life. That's it. What I did do is I implemented whatever I did learn from those experiences into my business as soon as possible. So what I would like you all to think about is, what skill do you think you already have? What are you good at? And it doesn't, if you think, don't think about Sensei, just think about, am I a good friend? Am I organized? Am I good at baking? Whatever that may be, start writing down the skills you already have, okay? So you're emphasizing and promoting and building your confidence up that you actually do have skills. Am I a good mom? What is it about me being a good mom that I think I'm a good mom? Ask your kids, why do you think I'm a good mom? Your spouse, babe, what skills do you think I have? What do you think I'm good at? Hopefully they're going to tell you everything if they're smart, but but they'll also be you know, logical and say, you know, say, I love you, thank you so much, you said the right answer, but let's break that everything down for me, okay? You know, they might say, you know what, you have a great memory, you remember a lot of details. Whatever that may be, I want you to put it to paper. Because when I joined you guys 9 years ago, I had zero confidence, and I literally thought I didn't have a skill to save my life. I thought I had no worth. I thought that my kids were only proud of their dad for being a military member and serving his country, and mom was only good enough to mop the floors and wipe their snot off their face. That's literally where my mindset was when I joined, okay? But I was so broken to the fact that I was sick of being broken. And I was also sick of being broke. If you don't know my story, 3 days before I joined, we had $0 in our bank account, and we didn't have any, we didn't have any money coming in until the first of the month. So that means I couldn't buy my son, who was 2 years old at the time, a glass of milk, a jug of milk. There was no milk in the refrigerator, guys. I had a 15-month-old daughter and an almost 3-year-old running around. My husband was deployed, and when he got back, he went TDY somewhere else. So it was basically a stay-at-home mom, single mom for a while when I started my business. So I had to learn to not let excuses be an excuse, okay? Some of the excuses I could have used is, my husband's not home, I have no money, I have no skills. But what I did do that most people don't is I utilized all the training and all the support that was available to me. All of you that are here right now, whether you're live or recorded, you're taking that step, okay? You're going to go up because you're showing up. All right, so I'm gonna break down some of the actions, which we call massive actions. And we always say, if you wanna be, grow and get a result fast, you have to take massive actions now, not, I'll do it after I do my first things first checklist. I'll do it after I get my kit. No, you do it now. Somebody actually asked me today, is it smart to start a party before I even get my kit? Absolutely. You do not wait for anything. You have a website immediately. You can start selling the second you click join. There's a lot of direct sales companies out there that they actually make you wait a certain amount of time, and you have to sell a certain amount before you can actually start using your website. There's also other businesses out there that don't let you place an order until you've been in the company and gone through your orientation. That is ridiculous, because you don't have to know what you're doing to be able to send a website to somebody and then to look at your product and say, that's amazing, I want it. So click, place an order, bam. So what I did is I immediately sent my link to everybody that I thought I knew. And when I say I thought I knew, it's because I thought I knew my mom, my aunt, my 2 sisters, my sister-in-laws, that was 3, and my best friend Danielle. I thought I knew 8 people. That's all I thought I knew, okay? And my aunt immediately bought 2 warmers because they were the cause warmers, the Autism Speaks warmers. So I already had product on, actually, no, she bought 4, I'm sorry, because I remember the first day I was halfway to my shooting star just because I shot those warmers to my aunt. Now, so on that token, it's so important to bust open, and whether you have your kit or not, get on your website and start looking through your products. Start figuring out who and what they would be buying. Who would like this amazing new island collection, I like to call it, because it reminds me of Hawaii, the tropical collection. We have a lot of new Hawaiian natives that are in our team that are actually on right now. So this new collection that's almost sold out, this is something that your people would have loved to see, right? So crack open your catalog or get on your website, whether you don't have a catalog or not, and start looking. One of the things I did is I spotted a paws warmer, which was like a dog warmer, and my best friend Danielle, one of my 8 people, she is a dog lover. She doesn't have kids, she doesn't want kids, but she loves dogs. So, and the one thing about that situation is that we hadn't talked for 2 years, you guys. Sensei is the one that brought my best friend and my relationship back, and we are still friends to this day. And we started talking because I said, this reminded me of you, I miss you. And it was the truth. I was being honest. And I told her what the business was. I said, I just joined this business. I don't know what I'm doing, but isn't this cute? That's all I said to her. And she immediately called me because I was texting her because I was a little nervous because we hadn't talked in a while. And while we were talking, she asked me how many people I had on my team. Well, guess what, guys? I was brand new. I didn't have anybody, right? Well, she said, you do now. Now you have a new team member. So her and I were brand new, the blind leading the blind. We had no idea what we were doing. And, but the one thing it did is it built our relationship. We got closer, we learned things together, and we fell on our faces together. And then we lifted each other's back up. So most of you that are brand new that are on here have already sponsored new people. So congratulations to you, because the first thing I heard on one of the first training calls I heard is, who do you cry to when you're sad, and who do you call when you're excited? And that was my friend Danielle. I'm like, and I can't cry to her right now or be excited to her right now because we haven't talked in 2 years, because we had some stupid little fight 2 years before when I moved away from Vegas to the place I started my business in New Mexico. And anyways, I said, that's my Danielle. And that's why when I saw that, it was like a sign, I need to call her. I have to call her, and I have to show her this warmer. So if you haven't sponsored your first person, who is that person to you? The person that you want to call when you're sad, and the person you want to call when you're excited. If that's your mom, amen to that. Your mom is a great person to have on your team. My mom's on my team. It took her about 10 months to get on. No, not 10 months. I'm sorry. That's a total exaggeration. It was April, May. It was only 3 months, but I felt like 10 months to me, because she was like, what's it called? Pulling teeth, even to buy a product to me. So who is that person? Your best friend? If it is your spouse, if you're married legally, you can't sponsor your spouse, unfortunately, because legally your business is their business. So who is the next person? Because I think everybody is going to say your spouse, right? But who that you're not married to is that person. What that did is that built confidence that I didn't have, okay? I didn't think that anybody would want to join the journey that I was going to be on. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't even know about the products. I'd been buying for 10 months, but all I knew was warmers and wax, okay? So it's so important to start studying your products, because when I started flipping through my catalog and looking through my website when I joined, it opened up things that I felt like I was gypped. Why did I not know all this stuff was in this catalog? And it was like not even a quarter of the amount of stuff we have now. But we had Scentsy buddies that I had no idea that we had. We had room sprays and scent circles and little things that I was like, I would have enjoyed those things, okay? So it's so important to make sure that your clients and future clients and friends and hostesses and all these people are aware what you have available. And the only way that they're going to know what you have is if you share it with them and you know what you have available. So do you know what Sensei has available? If you're brand new and you don't, that's okay. But this is the time to start diving in. The team that's been with me for a long time laughs at me because I tell them every time we get a new catalog, bring the catalog to the bathroom, bring the catalog to your dentist appointment, that you're going to be sitting anywhere you're going to be sitting around doing nothing. You might as well be building your business, right? And learning your business. So couple things you need to do, and what I did, again, I'm not asking you to do anything that I didn't do and that didn't actually help my business. I printed out my Sensei standards. What that is basically your contract to being a Sensei consultant and all the no-nos and the yeses that you can do, okay? Because you do not want to be promoting your business in a way that is not compliant, because that's a bad way to start out your business, of getting shut down and being told that you can't do something. So you need to understand where Sensei's coming from. Now, I'm not saying to sit down and read it cover to cover, but what I'm saying is before you do something that you don't know what, you have an idea in your head, and skim to that section and say, okay, I want to do this. Is this allowed? And then if you still don't know and you're still not sure, reach out to your upline or their upline or your director or me, your superstar director. I may be everybody to you. I don't know. And ask those questions. Say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm seeing in the standards. Do you have any experience or knowledge on this? Here's the facts, guys. I may not either. So what I'll always tell you, even just to cut out the middleman and go straight to compliance, say, this is what I want to post. This is why I want to do it. Is there anything that I'd be violating? They're going to email you back and say yay or nay, or they're going to do, and they're also going to give you a bunch of coaching. And they're also going to tell you exactly where the Sensei standards is of why you can do that or you can't. Because guess what, guys? I did something wrong the first month that I started. I did grow a team immediately. So I had a team. So I wanted to name my team. This is so funny. I was added to the Make It Happen group, which is our superstar directors, our upline. Michelle Cohen and I call it the mothership page. And so I named my team Make It Happen too, like thinking I'm an extension of them. And my sponsor said, no, you're not a director and you can't name your page like that. And that's their page. And so she wasn't telling me to make me feel bad. She was telling me because she wanted to educate me. But that's because I didn't do any research as far as marketing. I didn't know what was okay. All right. So they slapped me on the hand. My sponsor caught it before Sensei caught it. So if Sensei catches it, I just want to let you know, they generally give you about a 3 trial, like slap on the hand. They'll educate you, tell you to take it down. But when you get in trouble with marketing is when you continue to do what they've already coached you on. They've already found you doing it. They've already coached you on it, and you continue to do it. That's when you're going to get shut down, at least suspended, if not canceled. So print your Scentsy standards out, read it as much as you can. Goal yourself to read one part of it, like a section every day or something, okay? And put it into a binder. And then put your startup guide, your consultant guide in there. Do like punch it in there or put in the pocket. And then also put a catalog. And this is what you call your Sensei Bible. Okay, this is your ins and outs of your business, because when you're out working your business, you want to be able to have a resource that you can turn to when your sponsor and none of your upline are answering their phone calls or whatever. Everybody's busy or doing their own parties or working their own business or whatever. And possibly Sensei support isn't available. Because Sensei support isn't available 24/7. They're open Monday through Friday from certain times. Okay, so I will tell, somebody just requested something that I should mention. So with marketing, for all the new people, we cannot do personal incentives on any social networking page, okay? Meaning we want to keep everybody across the board on even playing ground, okay? Meaning I've been in the business for 9 years, so I have a lot of financial ability as well as product and stock. So I could be saying, book a party with me. I'll give you 9 warmers just for booking. And then you're brand new trying to get out the gate and try to start your business, and you have nothing to offer them. Who do you think they're going to book with? Me, right? So they don't want anybody to gain their business unfairly. So we all have to gain our business the same way. However, you can do personal and specials privately. So you can call them, you can text them directly, you can private message them on Facebook directly, you can email them, any one-on-one. You can even do personal specials at your home parties when you're right there in person. You just can't plaster it on a social media page that everybody can see, okay? On the same token, you can't either do it in a closed private group page. People think that's private. It's not. No social media personal incentives, okay? There is marketing strategies training on the training center. I can't go through everything tonight. It's just impossible. Anyways, and then gift cards is something that a lot of people question when they first start. That I actually spoke to somebody today about that. You are welcome to offer gift cards on your own of $5, $10, whatever, but you will have to create your own gift certificate. And then at the bottom, you'll have to say redeemable with so-and-so independent consultant. And then you have to make sure that you put that money aside. Don't put it in your bank so you can accidentally spend it, because when that person decides to redeem it with you, you need to have the money to place the order. So I would keep a log of this person bought it for this person. Ask them who it is, who's going to be redeeming this gift card, and the customer that actually purchased it from you, what date, how much. Or you can buy a $25 gift certificate straight from the company, and you'll get an order number that you can put on your own gift certificate, or you can just email them the number or text it to them, whatever you want to do. But that way is the way that you want to be careful. I still encourage you to make your own gift certificates and put the number on it, because once the gift certificate is purchased, they can actually go and redeem it with any consultant. So you want to have some type of way to keep that gift certificate redeemable with you. So on the same token, you can make your own gift certificate redeemable with this person by this time, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. If you have any other questions about that, just make sure you reach out to your sponsor or their sponsor and they'll elaborate on that. Okay. Other actions that I took when I first started. I went through all my emails that I had. Anybody I had an email from, and I started manually entering in like 10 to 15 people in my contacts every day and adding them to my newsletter. That's something that you should be doing because this month, you actually have like a whole month left because our newsletter already went out this month, okay? This is even for seasoned consultants. This is something that you should be doing regularly. When you get a website order, just because they have an email address, it doesn't mean they clicked newsletter subscriber. So when you get a website order, you want to make sure that you go maybe every Friday or whatever system you create, but it has to be consistent that you add them to your newsletter. They have a way to unsubscribe if they don't want to be a part of your newsletter, okay? But you want to assume that everybody that you know on a warm market standpoint, which is your friends, your family, people that you have a relationship with already, has a newsletter. Has your newsletter, okay? And they're signed up. It's nice to let them know that I'm signing you up for my newsletter. But one thing that I did is that I found that as long as you are shouting from the rooftops that you're a Sensei consultant, you love your business, they're going to understand why they got a newsletter if there's somebody that you already know prior to Sensei. So that's your warm market, people that you already have a relationship with prior to Sensei, okay? Now, the one thing I have to say is because a lot of people join Sensei and they have other types of businesses, direct sales, personal, whatever. When it comes to another direct sales business, you cannot take people that you met directly from Sensei and market your products to that other business or vice versa, okay? If you had no relationship with that person prior to Sensei, you cannot bring that person over to your other direct sales company. And then we also frown upon you doing the same thing. We want it to be, we don't want them to feel like they're being spammed or it's just icky. Unless you have, like I said, if you had a personal relationship with them before Sensei or before your other business, that's different. But we don't want to get other companies mad at us, and we definitely don't want our business being taken and brought over to another company. That's called cross-marketing, and it's against compliance. So I just like to throw that out there. Okay, so newsletter, and go to your Facebook friends list, okay? Everybody that you're Facebook with, if you send a private message and just, start a relationship with them again, if you haven't talked to somebody in a while, try not to spam them with, look at this is my business, here's my website. Start a very casual and friendly conversation first. Start that relationship up again, the conversation, and then when you've had some back and forth, that's when you can say, hey, here's my website, I just started this business, would you mind taking a look at it? I'd love to hear your feedback. Not, hey, here's my website, I want you to buy. You could do that with your warm market, your sisters, your cousins, your friends, your coworkers that you see every day. But people you haven't talked to in a while, like your high school, best friend that you haven't seen since high school, that's a little strange and it definitely will turn them off. So, but start now writing those people down on your list of 100. And start building that relationship up again. And before you know it, there's going to be some people that you click with automatically and you can just say, hey, they're going to say, you know what? I've been noticing you've been posting some stuff. What's this Sensei stuff? And you can move right into it. But if they say nothing about it, you don't want to just hit them up with your Sensei business because it's going to be very salesy to them. So I just try to coach people on that from the get-go because we've had nothing but unfortunate bad responses in the past. And so we are a business relationship, a relationship building business. And so we don't want, business to be first. We want relationships first. Okay. And the business does grow over time. Let's see, branding myself. One of the 100% why my business grew so fast is because I started my business in a small town, and everywhere I went, I had a logo on my car. And so I was started, people literally talked about me in my small town, that's the Sensei lady. Even though there was 200 other Sensei consultants in my small town, I was the only one with a decal on, until my team started growing and they started getting logos on their car. And so whenever I got out of my car, I always had something that represented Sensei. Before I had Sensei gear like this, I was always wearing purple or green. I went to Walmart and bought a bunch of purple and green shirts. And so I was showing my Sensei spirit. I was showing them that I loved what I do. And what I did, I could afford, is I bought myself a pin that said help wanted. And then on my first paycheck, I bought myself a badge. So everywhere I went, I had a help wanted pin and a badge on. So I looked like this was my business, not was my, you can buy Sensei when I feel like it type business. It was my business is open. My doors are open. I'm ready to, for business. I'm ready for your business. When you think about it, if you brand your car and then you get out of the car without anything Sensei, what the message you're giving them is your business is closed. You're off today. Okay. If you have nothing branded Sensei on your person, it could be on your purse. It could, Melissa Henning, she puts a little Sensei buddy on her. She has a lot of branding, but even if she had nothing else on, she has her buddy clip on her purse, and they know that she's open for business. So these are things that you can work towards. You don't have to go and spend a bunch of money in the Sensei Success Store and buy a bag and a pin and a badge and a shirt and this and that. You can if you want to, if you have the ability. But I remember had 2 nickels to rub together when I started. So my first paycheck went to bills and to groceries. And so I said, okay, I'm going to buy myself a badge. So even if I'm wearing nothing Sensei, I'm training my brain that when I put that badge on, I'm going to work. My office doors are open, okay? Because you are your business. You are a walking billboard. You can collect business and start somebody else's business in the drive-through of a parking lot if you want to help them get their business started. If you have everything you need to be prepared to run your business and to offer the opportunity, the booking opportunity, and place an order, you can have everything you need with you. So I always had order forms, products, catalogs on me at all times, and other business products. Let's see. I scheduled my launch party within the first 10 days of my business. The reason why I scheduled it is because I wanted 5 extra days to get straggling orders in from my 15th day. So if people didn't show up to my launch party, I had time to call them and say, I'm so sorry I missed you. I wish I missed you at my party. Do you want to get together and do a sit and sniff? Can I, how can I help you get to know my products? Here's something that's very interesting, which most people are blown away when I tell them this. My launch party was $3,200, but guess what, guys? When I started Sensei, I didn't know one person in my local area. One person. Other than the person that was selling Sensei to me. And guess what? She wasn't who I joined under. The reason why I didn't join under that person is because she never offered it to me. The person I joined under is the person that offered me the opportunity. And you'll find that most people say, why did you join Sensei with this person or at all, is because somebody asked me. That's why. If this person asked me before, I probably would have asked. Melissa Henning and Michelle that are on right now, they both had several people that they knew that sold Sensei, but the people that actually offered it to them and had a relationship with them are the ones they eventually joined with. So think about that, okay, guys? If you're not offering, people are thinking that it's not something you want to offer. It's not available to them. In my brain, I thought that was her business and that I'd be stepping on her toes. So I never thought it was a possibility for me. So when my sponsor offered it to me in the first 30 minutes that I met her, I took it. Okay, yeah, let's do this. Okay, so let me get back to my thing. Launch party. Okay, how did I get $3,200 in sales just for my launch party in the first 10 days of my business? This is something that most of you might laugh at, that maybe you can't even think of actually doing this, but I was desperate, you guys. I knew nobody. And if I wanted this business to work, I have to step out of my comfort zone. So what I did is I literally walked my neighborhood and knocked on the door and gave everybody in my neighborhood an invitation to my party. I said, I'm sorry that you haven't met me until now. I'm a very shy person, but I just started this business and I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone, and I would love to know my neighbors. So I'd love for you to come to my party on Friday. You don't have to buy anything, but this is kind of a way for me to meet you, get to know me. And of course, if you introduce my business to you, and maybe you might know somebody that is interested in my business. I was just very upfront and personal with them. I was very transparent. And out of, I knocked on about 20 doors, and I had a couple people slam their doors on my face. No joke. Put a little bit of tear in my eyes, got my confidence hurt even more. But I kept going. And in the end, after the launch party, you guys, I had 7 people show up. 4 of them joined my team. One of them took a bag party for me, which was an on-the-go party, and sold $1,000. And she ended up joining later, like a couple months later, but she ended up doing like really good bag parties for me for a couple months until I finally said, look, sister, you've got a whole clientele that are buying from you. You might as well be the consultant. And she decided to join. So with that, stepping out of my comfort zone, and I also did it again because I didn't knock on everybody's door. After my first month, I challenged myself to go to the next group of people. And the very first person I knocked on her door, we hit it off immediately. We started talking about football and movies we liked. I don't even know how the conversation started, but I lent her a warmer because she had no idea what Scentsy was about. And I had another launch party. Now, I want you guys to remember this. Your launch party isn't the end-all game, okay? You can literally have a launch party every single day if you want to. It's just to kind of get consultants going. So if one doesn't work out, schedule another one. We encourage you actually to do 6 launch parties in your first 70 days, if possible, if not. Because if possible. The reason why is because not everybody's gonna show up to the one day that you have booked. It's not because they don't wanna be there, it's because they literally can't. So give them more options. That, I'm having one on this day at this time, one in the evening, one in the afternoon, maybe Saturday in the afternoon, Friday at night, this and that. So you have to ask yourself, how hungry am I really for this business to grow? How, because massive action is going to build that momentum and get things going. But if you kind of just go like, I'm not quite ready, I don't know enough, your business isn't going to grow, okay? So you will have to be okay with trial and error. You will have to be okay with falling on your face a couple times and saying, oh, that wasn't a good move. I need to do that differently next time. Because the more you experience, whether it's good or bad, that's how you grow, okay? Because the way, I'm sharing you my journey, but it doesn't mean it's gonna happen the same way mine did. I can tell you step by step what I did, and you could follow that, and it doesn't mean it's gonna turn out exactly the way it did. Because guess what? You have a different delivery. You have a different relationship with people. Your personality is different. Your fears are different. Your strengths are different. So, but you can also, but the one thing is that if you follow enough people that have seen success, it's more likely for you to find success faster than if you try to, shoot the arrows blind with no direction. Okay, so starting off with things that have been proven to work is always going to get you there faster, okay? So I walked my neighborhood, probably in my entire 9 years, I walked neighborhoods of where I've lived because I moved back from New Mexico, back to Vegas, lived with my mother-in-law for like 6 months, moved into another house, and then moved to this house. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I've done it about 6 times. I've done it twice in this neighborhood and one at my mother-in-law's, one at my old place. And I still to this day have customers, hostesses, and consultants, all from just walking my neighborhood those times. every single time I've gained customers, hostesses, and consultants by doing those things. But those are things that most people aren't willing to do. So you have to ask yourself, am I willing to be bold and brave and do things that the next consultant isn't willing to do? Because if you are, you're going to get results that most people aren't going to get. Okay. So a lot of people make fun of me when I tell them that story. They're like, oh, you're like the Avon lady that used to like Avon calling and knock on doors. I didn't care, guys. I needed my business to work because I was that hungry and I needed to feed my kids. So you need to ask yourself, how bad do you want it and how bad do you need it? How bad do you really need a paycheck every month on the 10th? And the cool thing about this business is that you determine what size that paycheck is. When I found out that I could get an extra 5% on my commission check by selling over $2,000 every month, that was automatically my goal. That's it. If I can maximize my commission, then I have to at least shoot for that minimum, because I need as much money as possible to feed my children and to never be in the situation that I have to question whether I can feed them again. Okay. So if you aren't that hungry, it's also okay. So don't think that if somebody joined the same day as you and they're taking off because they're doing so much more and you're watching them on their journey on Facebook or something, it's okay if you don't have that burning desire and you're literally just kind of joining Sensei to have fun and see where it goes, because there's plenty of people that have been successful in that as well. So that's why I want you guys to know that there's two sides to everything. But there are also certain things that you have control over and you don't. You have control over your actions. You don't have control over your team's actions or your customers' actions or responses or if they're going to book with you. But you can choose whether you're going to ask them and offer them those opportunities. And then what I always say, it's the best feeling to be able to check it off and say, that person knows they can have an opportunity with me in the business. They can have free and half off items for their Scentsy products, or they can buy the product for full price. Those three things is completing your job with them, as far as truly giving them everything that's available. Because if you haven't told them all three, you don't know which one is actually going to be the biggest blessing to them. Okay, so give yourself that opportunity to check that off with every person that you sell to. Right now we have the $20 join special. That is an option you should be sharing with every single person that you sell to. Don't take their order until you say, however, you can join for $20 right now and place your order and for yourself and get commission off of it. Now, new consultants, I will tell you, are going to go, well, wait a minute. If I'm offering the opportunity to every single person, then I'm not going to have any sales to buy. I say this a lot. That's a good issue to have. And I promise you, if you are branding and you are on these training calls, you're going to learn new ways every single week how to find new customers. Okay. So that was also one of the first things I learned, is building a team wide is what your focus is. If you want to make the maximum compensation in this business, if you want to literally maximize your income and potential, at least, because it's endless. But if you want to get to like where I'm at, I have the ability to maximize the compensation plan, okay, because I'm at the very top. So I can get paid off of every level, all the way down to my 3rd generation director. So no matter what happens, I have that potential. And that's something I knew I wanted from the second I joined. I didn't want a little bit of money. I didn't want some money. I wanted any money that I can actually potentially receive in this business. So, and it wasn't because I was money hungry. It was because money equals resources. Money equals freedom, and money equals growth. You're able to grow because you have those resources and that freedom. Okay. So ask yourself, what have you done to step out of your comfort zone with your business so far? Whether you're a day old or you've been around for a couple weeks. Is there anything that you've done that's different that you've done with another direct sales company, or something you did in your business? Maybe you own a business, maybe you have dabbled in it before. Because I have to say, so many people will come to me and say, oh, I've been in these businesses for years. I've done this, I've done that, and I did this and this, that. And I say, so which one was successful? Which one did you actually get a result out of it that you were proud of? And the one thing that they always tell me is that they just feel like this isn't for them. I'm like, well, then why are you joining another direct company? Well, because I see so many people actually are successful in this. So I just want to keep trying. Well, that is great. You want to keep trying. You never want to give up. But I will tell you, the most successful people in most businesses are focusing on one thing. Because when it comes to direct sales, there's clientele, there's a host base, and there's also a team base. So if you're trying to handle all these different legs of people, and then you have a whole other business trying to do the same thing, you're going to get a little overwhelmed, and you're also going to be confusing your downlines. They're going to be like, well, which one is she serious about? Which one should I be with? What's going to be more successful for me? So you're confusing your customers, you're confusing your hostesses, and you're definitely confusing your consultants. When you get to a director and above, there's a point that you cannot be in a conflicting direct sales business. So meaning it can't be something that, can be looked at as a competition, if that makes sense. Because you have to decide, you're getting a director and above bonus. You have to decide who you're going to be leading. And your team has to know they can rely on you. That if you're not available, it's not because you're over there serving your other team. You're not available because you're working your own Sensei business or whatever, or you're doing a personal time, but it's not because your time is spent somewhere else on another direct sales business. I hope that makes sense to you guys. If it doesn't, we can talk about it another time. But that's one thing I learned, is focus on one thing. No matter how much I fall on my face, as long as you don't give up, you will grow. And that's what stuck with me in the beginning. And then I learned to start building wide and growing my team. My husband and I'm going to tell you right now, unless you explain this to your spouse from the get-go, they are going to be a little probably hesitant that you're giving parties to people, and that's what we call flipping parties. You are for instance, right now I just did a party for my sister's friend. She's my friend too, but they're best friends. And she had an online party, and so she decided to join. So we still have our online party going, and we're closing it tomorrow. So we're going to flip all those orders are going to go into her account to help her get her business going. When I started, my husband was like, are you serious? You're giving away commission? You're like giving your orders away? And I literally had to tell him, you have to trust me. Building a team is going to far more help us and benefit us in the future than the little bit of commission we're losing right now. Yes, you do get, 20 to 25% or 30%, depending on how much you're selling, on the right now sale. But you have to ask yourself, are you looking for long-term and big results, or are you looking for right now? If you're looking for right now, that's absolutely fine. That is your choice. It's your business. But I was also selling enough on top of sponsoring that I was still getting a $600 plus paycheck just for my commission. So again, everybody's situation is different. So just really look at that. And if you're not understanding the compensation plan, tell your sponsor that, tell your director that. Don't sit back and go, I don't understand this. Well, maybe I'll figure it out later, because you could be losing money that way. If you don't understand it, there's no reason for you to be in business. I mean, unless you are just literally here to be a smart shopper and just get your discount, and then that's fine. But if you're looking to build, these are things you need to understand. Here's something that I did that, again, most people wouldn't do. And remember, when you are that desperate, you are more scared to not bring money home and put it on, to bring food on the table, than for somebody to laugh in your face or tell you no. So I literally brought launch party invitations everywhere I went. And when somebody checked me out at Walmart or wherever, I gave them an invitation to my party. Yes, that was really, really bold and, weird that I don't really know you very well. I see you every now and then at the checkout stand, but I'm inviting you to my home. Again, that's how desperate I was. Not a lot of people are that desperate. But let me tell you, about 3 of the 20 people that I invited that I had no idea who they were did actually come. And one of them introduced me to my very first fundraiser. I did my first fundraiser the second month I joined. and I sold about $4,000. And I met one of my team members who ended up being a very big heavy hitter in my business and grew a very good size organization, who stayed with me probably about 5 years, and then she moved on and did something else. She wasn't in direct sales anymore, but I inherited her entire organization just because I was bold. In order to invite somebody I didn't know, I was able to be introduced to a person that introduced me to somebody that got me a fundraiser, who who introduced me to somebody that ended up really growing my organization. So we really have to think about those things, that people link you to people that you never know who they would be. So if we're too shy to talk to a stranger, I was the shyest person you could meet when I started Sensei. But again, my fears of not being able to provide for my kids were far greater than being shy and, saying something stupid or not knowing, or somebody slamming the door on my face, for instance. So just think about those things. I made my husband bring invitations to work to the wives, and then I also had him bring catalogs and samples to the husbands, because men like Scentsy too. One of the 3 women actually showed up from his shop. One brought somebody, because I asked them to bring, I said, if you bring somebody, you'll get a ticket. And I put it on the invitation. She brought somebody, and that person booked my very first party off my launch party, okay? And it literally was 2 days after I did my launch party. I was terrified. I didn't know what I was doing, but I accepted it, because you've got to take business when the opportunity arises. You can't hesitate, because you don't know if it's going to come up again. That person at her party, I met another one of my big heavy hitters that ended up growing a big organization as well. All these people became really dear friends of mine, but they also were introduced from people I had no idea who they were in the beginning. Okay. And then another lady who's, both of them are still on my team. The lady I just told you, and then one I'm about to tell you, they're still on my team. This other one, she, oh gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Hold on one second. Booked off my party. This one I met from that person. And then, Diamond. Okay. Diamond was a wife from, my husband's work. And do you know, when she walked in my party, she said, do you know that I was on the couch in my pajamas ready to watch my favorite show, and my husband told me I had to get dressed and come to this? And she looked mad, like mad. And she's like, I didn't want to come, but he told me I had to. I was like, oh gosh, I'm sorry, you don't have to stay. Like, I felt so bad. But do you know, she ended up ordering, and then because she knew that I lived on base, she came and ordered some more stuff for her family. And then she was going away, her and her husband, TDY means temporary duty, like they're going somewhere for like a few months. So she's like, do you mind if I take, some samples to my family and friends? And what I told her, I said, take a whole bag party and collect as many orders as you can. You're gonna get the rewards from it, but you know what? Depending on the results, we'll talk about, before we close your party, if this is something you could do for yourself. She ended up joining, and then she sponsored somebody that has been a business builder in her organization. So it doesn't necessarily mean the person that you sponsor directly is going to be the person that's going to change your organization. It's sometimes somebody that they sponsored or they sponsored, if that makes sense. One of the first directors on my team, well, one of them, I think it was the second one, she was not my frontline. She was somebody that my frontline sponsored, and she ended up just growing her business. And then I ended up taking her under my wing. So this business is very unique, and it goes in directions that sometimes you had no idea. Okay, so I kind of went over the main things as far as actions. Now, one of the things that I did is I wanted to know the culture of the business. I wanted to know who Orville and Heidi were, which are the owners. What is their culture? What is their mission? I want to know everything about the company. I also want to know how did it start? because stories are everything, you guys. If you can't tell the story about how Scentsy started, because it's a very passionate and very heart-wrenching story that makes people usually get a little, it pulls on their heartstrings. That's what's going to really make them, it's going to break the hard exterior off of people. It's going to make them know why you're passionate. And then you have to go ahead and connect that and share your story. If you are hurting and you join this, I know there's somebody on here that joined because she's in a bad situation financially. Her husband lost his job. Somebody in her family is physically, medically hurting. She's like the only person that can physically work. She needs a job. She needs money to have. I said, well, you need to jump on this call tonight because that's what I'm going to be sharing about. You need to share those stories. The one gal, her name's Jen Western, that I told you, she and I met her at my first party that I booked off of my party. I shared my story about the autism warmer, which is a very important, near and dear to my heart, of why I joined. It kind of gave me the confidence to join because I wanted to help with this fundraiser. But when I shared for the first probably 2 months of my business at my parties, you guys, I literally cried. And Jen booked 2 parties off of me until she joined. But by the second party, she already had Kleenex ready for me because she knew I was going to cry at that party. So she knew my presentation. So she knew, I saw her leave and she came back with a tissue when I was telling my story, and she knew that I was already going to start crying. So that's what connected her with me. She knew my heart. She knew who I was and what I was doing this for, which made her love the business even more and want to join me as a person. So it's so important for you guys to not just be, sell, here, book a party because I need you to book a party, or join my team because it's about me. Make it about them. Make them know that this story, this business, these stories you're sharing can be their story as well. So one thing I'll always say is that, and that I've learned in the very beginning, was people don't care what you say, they care how you make them feel. And so when you're able to share a story that's going to make them a little bit, emotionally attached, they're going to remember that. And so if some random consultant comes up to them and says, who's your, do you have a consultant? They're going to have an emotional attachment to your story. And it doesn't have to be, as heartbreaking as mine that I couldn't feed my kids, but you tell them, why did you join? Why do you love this company? Why do you love the products? What is it about the culture that maybe you see in this culture that you haven't seen in other cultures before? Because pretty much everybody that I know that has been in other direct sales companies tell me that this culture is so hands down unlike any other culture they've ever been around. And that's why people stay with Scentsy and they end up growing businesses. So ask yourself, what are you willing to do? Hopefully you are writing down these different things that I did, these actions, and what are you willing to do? And even what are you capable of doing? And if you're not capable and you feel like you need to learn the skill, how are you going to grow that skill? Okay. And how much time are you willing to put in every day for your business? Because I will tell you that if you put even a little bit of time every single day in your business will grow. So ask yourself, what time can you block out for your Scentsy business? Now, one thing I also, shared in the beginning is that I was just so on fire, ignorance on fire, and felt something I haven't felt in a long time. I literally felt happiness that I hadn't felt in a long time. I felt like I had a purpose. I felt like I could contribute to the world in a way that I never thought I could, or that I wasn't before. And so that made me just on fire all the time. I slept 4 hours a day, literally, for the first 6 months of my business because I was so excited and I just didn't want to stop. Now, is that typical? Is that even healthy? No. But when people say, how the heck did you become a director in 4 months? All those massive actions, I put a lot more time into my business than most people are even willing to do. So that makes sense. So if you're in 4 months and you haven't made director, don't beat yourself up. Because it's very likely you didn't eat, sleep, and drink Scentsy your entire waking hours like I did for 6 months. So those are things that I want you guys to know from the get-go. But you can pick and choose. I can do this. I can try that. I'm willing to do that. But you don't have to do everything. And you don't have to do everything that everybody else is willing to do just because they're getting the results that you want. Because everybody's on a different journey. There are superstar directors in the company, you guys, that have joined years after me and have far larger organizations than I do and are making a lot more money than me. But because over the years, my why and my why changed dramatically, as well as what I was willing to do change dramatically. If I stayed on that, that same pace, I probably would have been a lot further. I don't know. But so that's why I just want you guys to know that this isn't something that you can actually gauge by somebody else's journey. It's your journey is 100% yours and 100% unique. But you can decide whether you're going to try and follow the footsteps of people that have made it happen. And that first things first checklist is going to get you on a fast track to doing the things that really do make things happen and make you grow your business. So that was literally, like, again, a lot of information all at once. I'm going to open it up. If you have any questions, no question is stupid. So please ask any question because I will tell you it's very likely somebody else is thinking it and they just may not be jumping on. So please ask your questions or make any comments that you might have. There should be a little thing on that you can raise your hand on the computer. And so you can either do that or you can just raise your hand physically and I'll be able to see you because there's not that many people on live right now.
I got a question.
Angel?
Yeah, hey Jess. I don't know if you want to talk on a call about this, but I'd like to know more about bag parties and fundraisers. And I'm gonna look up the first, what would you call it? The first steps or the first things first?
Yeah, so as soon as you log on to your workstation, you're gonna first things first, and it's a bunch of, it's like a checklist, yes.
Okay.
Perfect. So, okay, bag parties, what a good question. So one of the things that I loved about when I first joined is the fact that we can literally give our hostesses everything that sells our business. We can literally give them a bag full of all of our fragrances so people can literally smell before they purchase the products. So a bag party or an on-the-go party, people call them different. They even called them basket parties. When I started 9 years ago, we literally use little baskets and like make cute little, it looked just like a goodie bag full of testers and samples, and we put a little mini warmer in there. You basically just gauge, depending on how educated they are in the product, your host. If they have no idea what anything is, you probably do want to give them a warmer to try and some testers and maybe some wax and all the like on-the-go products to kind of bring around with them. But make sure you give them a checkout form because that is products that cost you money. So you kind of psychologically say, hey, I need this stuff back, right? So I had them sign it and just say, you'll deliver it back to me or I'll pick it up from you on this day. But that way they can be out there traveling, bringing it to the gym, bringing it to grandma's house on Sunday, going to their girlfriend's house, bringing it to work and passing it around the entire office and collecting all these orders from people you would have never ever met if you didn't do this. And they may be somebody that just refuses to do a home party like in their house. I always suggest that you try to do the on-location party, that you're there in person with these people, because then you can get to know them and educate. But if for some reason that's just not happening with them, then that should be your next option is, okay, then let me give you an on-the-go party. So you could just take it to your people, everywhere. Excuse me, this is like carbonated water. So it's my throat was so dry. And they don't have to do anything but do what their normal schedule was, which is to go around to the people that they normally would have saw every day. On a coaching level, you can coach them that if you intentionally go to somebody's house that you wouldn't have gone to this week, but so they can actually smell. We call those a sit and sniff. and it's like a little tiny mini party, but your hostess is literally out there working for you. I was told, and I did it. I didn't have a lot of money to buy extra testers in the beginning, so I borrowed a couple bag parties from my sponsor, and she gave me like little bits, like she gave me like 15 testers, and she broke one big party into like 5 different bags for me. And so I had like 5 on-the-go parties going at all time, and I was doing home parties at the same time. So basically, we call the testers your employees, meaning you literally can hire hostesses to be your employee. They're getting paid by getting hostess rewards, but you're literally getting extra marketing and meeting new people through them. They're doing all the work, and that's why they're also your next most successful consultant once they become a consultant, if they do, because they're already doing your job. You're literally just putting the order in for them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So the bag party are more like the little samples you can take to the office and let people smell around and put in their own orders. Yep. What happens if somebody sees a new pack of wax bars and they have to have it on the spot? Can you have them place an order and then leave the pack you have in your hands with them at that moment and have them place an order to replenish your stock?
Yes, you have an option to do anything you want to do in your business. It's your business. So if you're okay with selling that product on hand, absolutely. I know a lot of people, I've done it before. Like, can I just have this one? Sure. And then they give you the exactly, and you just replace it. So it's just what you're willing to do and what you're able to do, but you're allowed to do that because in the end, it is your business. So you can, for the most part, you can run it the way you want to. There's just certain things like marketing specials on social media and stuff like that. Those are the like things we just have to be careful with, but otherwise you can do whatever you want basically in that essence. As far as fundraisers are probably the best way to gain 100 or more customers in like a couple weeks, because you're literally you're marketing you as a business owner in a way that you have a generous heart. You're trying to help a cause. So what you do is you donate your commission to the organization or whoever. Like I've done a personal one for somebody that had like stage 4 cancer and couldn't buy food for her family. And then I've also done organizations. So you're donating them. You're donating your commission, but you're doing a write-off as a marketing expense for the check that you're donating. So that's really a marketing write-off, but you're also helping that business. As well as anybody that's participating, they all get their own packets to basically collect orders. And then you can, depending on how many people are participating, you can have 80 people out there marketing your business, like small little on-the-go parties. They don't necessarily have testers unless you have like a lot of testers, that you're able to provide. Right. I don't do that when it's a big one. If there's like 5 people, I will put like a couple testers inside each bag, or each envelope, or if they request it from me, I will give them an on-the-go party to help them with their fundraiser. And then those people that are actually collecting orders are going to essentially be your next best hostess. They continue to host with you, or consultant. Because what I always do is I say, you just gave me a $500 packet worth of like 20 customers, that if you became a consultant, you'd be able to continue getting money for this for yourself, like a dance team, for instance. Like you participated in this fundraiser because you needed money for your kids' dance team. Well, if you became a consultant, you can continue. Yes, exactly, and keep refilling these people's orders, and you're going to get the commission from now on. And usually it makes sense to them. They're like, well, yeah, instead of continually working for you, I can work for myself, right? So they could host another fundraiser, or they could become a consultant and use the money for whatever they want. Exactly. Or they just become, and then you'll find that some customers from those packets, if the person that's participating in the fundraiser doesn't become a consultant or a hostess, you can literally call those people, follow up with them, see if they like their products, and then offer the hosting and the business opportunity to them. I found consultants and hostesses that way too. So there's just, or they just become customers that are longtime customers, and they found me through a fundraiser. So, or I found them, either way looking at it. Thanks, Jess. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for being on, Angel. Anybody else?
Me.
Hi.
So I want to touch on two things. First, I want to touch on what she just said and what you just said about the fundraisers. You were talking about the testers. So if you do have a large fundraiser, there's something else that we can all do too, is now that they have the little Scentsy, the little page that you can put the stickers on.
Yeah.
That's an option as well. I mean, it's obviously not going to be all of our testers, but that is an option, is to fill out that sheet with different stickers and put it in your packet.
Oh my God, yeah. I never thought about it because it's so new. Never even thought about that.
That's actually, and I've actually been looking for that particular thing and I can't find it, but I'll find it. The other thing I wanted to touch on when you were talking about branding is absolutely 100% what we need to be doing, because Shauna and I were actually at our Ross here one day, and I have the Sensei crossbody purse, and I carry it everywhere I go. That's because I don't always have the shirt on, so I carry it everywhere I go. We were literally in Ross, and a Sensei sister from somewhere else, this was before Christmas, walked up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, you sell Sensei?" I said, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. And this is my Sensei sister, Shauna." She said, "Oh, well, I sell Sensei too. So we need to connect after Christmas." We haven't connected yet, sadly, and now I'm leaving. So, but yeah, branding will bring people to you.
Absolutely.
So even if she was another Sensei sister, but people see the branding and they want to come to you. So branding is huge. That's important. I didn't brand in the beginning, you know that. But once I started branding, I started growing.
You know what I always think of is that if I'm going to buy a shirt, for X amount of dollars at Kohl's or Ross or anything, I would rather spend the money in the Sensei Success Store, because I can write it off as a marketing expense. And, right. I was going to buy a shirt anyways. And that's just the way I looked at things. If I'm going to buy, like when I first started, we had like Sensei belts. So I was like, I need a new belt. I'm not going to buy a belt that I can't write off. I'm going to write a belt that I can, and I can market myself. So like you use your purse, your crossbody. If instead of buying a crossbody bag from Kohl's or even Ross, you bought the Sensei one. And so you're always, yes, look at you. I love it. So you're always able to brand yourself no matter what you're doing. And and so we just have to make sure we remember, though, this is a conversation that I had. I had a team meeting literally when I was in New Mexico, where I started my business, because we were a lot of Air Force wives all on the same base. And I saw one of my team members like screaming at her kids in the parking lot at the commissary. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she was branded. She had her car all black. And like, I saw people literally looking at her like scared. So I had to have this conversation like, okay, it's awesome that you guys are branding yourselves, but you also have to remember you're representing your business and the Sensei company. So if you're going to scream at your kids, whatever, do your thing. Either wait till you get in the car, or don't wear your shirt out with your kids if you can't, keep it together, because you're only hurting yourself if you're screaming at your kids in front. Because what is that doing? It's making them go, oh, I wanted a catalog, but she doesn't look like she's in a very good mood right now, so I'm going to not get one from her. You know what I mean? We all get mad at our kids. I'm not going to lie. I do it. But we have to be intentional and realize that when we're driving around in a Sensei car or Sensei branding shirts, we're literally like a billboard, and we're the CEO of our business. So you don't see the CEO of any other company, in there. It's basically you're in your office. When you are branded, you're inside your Sensei office. So if you walk into the CEO's office of some other company, you don't see them screaming at the top of their lungs at their kids in their office, right? They usually will either shut the door, like get in your car and shut the door, or they just deal with it when they get home, right? So think of yourself as a business professional, because you are. You literally own your own business. No road rage. Yes. So because that's one thing you have to think about. If you're driving, you don't want to be flipping people off and cutting people off, and because what does that do for your business? It doesn't do good. And it also represents the company bad, which is so not nice, because Sensei has worked so hard to create such an amazingly loving and giving culture that people just know that when they think of Sensei, they think of good people. So if you want to be a part of that culture and be a part of that family, we have to think about, we're not only representing us personally, we're representing our sisters, you know, because I may not be that person's customer, but my team member, that's my team member's customer, and I'm making Sensei look bad by being crazy. You know what I mean? Again, we all have bad days, so don't beat yourself up if you make a mistake or something, but just bring it to your forefront of your brain that you're now a business owner. And so now you have to conduct yourself a little bit different if you want to be paid like a business owner, if that makes sense. Great, great. I'm glad you brought that up, Susan. Anybody else? Comments, questions? Okay, so all I'm gonna say is if you haven't started your first things first checklist, it's there for a reason, guys. It's not for you to open the thing and just skip right over it and start trying to figure it out on your own. You're only making life harder for yourself and your business. So dive in and just step by step, just do those things. If you come to a point that you're stuck, reach out to your sponsor. If your sponsor doesn't know, your sponsor might be just as new as you, reach out to your director or their upline. They may have an upline that their sponsor is not a director yet, but they're still a leader. So, you know, just go up the line, go up the chain. You're not in business by yourself. You know, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And showing up to these calls and being brave and talking and asking questions is how you're going to grow. There's one thing I'm going to say, because we're over our time, is that I was literally known, people knew Jess was going to ask a question on every Saturday call for probably the first 3 years of my business. I would either share something, an experience, or I'd ask a question. And I didn't care that people would actually laugh about it, because they're laughing at me that I always had a question wasn't paying my bills. Me getting the information was paying my bills. And then over time, I was actually able to share and help them with their businesses, because they were around a lot longer than I was, but I was growing faster than them. So they all of a sudden people were like, wait a minute, maybe I should be listening to these questions that she's asking, because obviously it's making her business grow. So, you know what I mean? So don't be afraid and think that, don't be embarrassed on the things that you have to ask, because if you're asking, it means you want to grow. And so we want that. That's what these calls are for. We're here for you, because we can't be available 24/7. We work our businesses all different hours, different time zones. So this is the time that you have to ask your questions. Yes, Susan?
I just wanted to say there is no dumb question ever. Yes. There's never, ever, ever a dumb question. Every question that you have to ask is a question that maybe help you and 5 other people. So there's never a dumb question.
Absolutely. And one thing that I did share that with Angel earlier today, she's off, but just to say, I told her, and I tell this to anybody that I coach directly, is that I am here to help you and support you 100%, but I'm not always going to give you the answer. I'm going to show you where to go to get the answer, because I want you to be independent. I don't want you to be dependent on me or anybody else. So you go to your upline to find out where to go, because you want to be able to take off and run your business when you're able to run it, and not wait till Susan wakes up for her day, or Susan's work hours are available, or my work hours, because they may be totally different. Susan is sleeping when I'm waking up because she's 3 hours behind me, or I'm going to bed when she's just sitting down for dinner. You know what I mean? So if she had to wait for me for everything, her business wouldn't have continued. So she had to dive in and ask me questions to maybe find things. And even if I can't answer her, she doesn't wait around for me to answer the question. She keeps digging until she finds it. And one thing I will tell you, this is what I'm going to close at, is that there are so many resources now. If I can become a director in 4 months with not even 25% of the amount of information and tools that were available when I started, every single one of you can become directors and above, if you want that, because there's enough support and training available for you to get to all your questions answered. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and close it up for the day. If you are watching recorded and you have questions, email me back, because I'm going to be emailing this to you, or email your sponsors or whoever, and we're ready to help you guys. So have a great rest of your week, and we won't see Susan. She's gone. Is it next week, Memorial Day? Am I wrong? It's not. It's in June. When is it? 2 more weeks? Okay. All right. So next week is the 18th. Okay. So Cindy Washam is going to be on possibly. She's had a family emergency, so I don't know if she's going to be back by then. But if not, I might plug somebody in. So we will see you next Monday, though. Either way. So thank you guys for showing up live. Thank you for showing up for your business, and have a great week. Bye, guys.